Hello everyone, welcome back to KitbashCarnage. So this is part 2 of 3 of the corruption terrain building that I'm doing. So basically, as you can see, this is what we've done so far. So in the previous part 1, we got our XPS foam and a few popsicle sticks and a bit of leftover milliput terrain that we have, along with some cork and stuff. And we built this kind of half broken, half non-broken building and we built it in a way basically to hold. I've done this in 2 ways. I've done it for the actual terrain itself, and also to hold my Lord Discordant on Hellstalker, just for my Chaos Army. This is just to make it like a diorama, so 2 things in one. And here you see some bits that we're going to use, so like tentacle bits and some Tyrannid bits and leftover green stuff that I've rolled previous and taken off little bits. I've said bits quite a lot here. But yeah, along with some milliput and these tentacle stuff, we're going to increase the corruption of this terrain. So basically where I'm going with this is, as I said, it's based on my army, the Mutant Bearers of Faith, the Word Bearers. And in my army I've added these tentacle looking things coming out of my army. Basically, it's if you read my lore, which you could find on my Instagram at KitbashCarnage, that basically will tell you exactly what it's all about. It's quick rundown. It's the detachment legion of the Word Bearers, and when the Word Bearers ended up going forth and doing their thing, these guys stayed in position. Were kneeled down in the last city they captured, and after time they awoke. But because they were actually in meditation that whole time, praying to the Chaos Gods, seeking advice and wisdom, and that's why they ended up, each one got granted with a Chaos Demon, and that basically latched to its soul and its armor, and this is the life force that's driving them. It's the chaotic demon soul that's whispering in their ear, kind of. It's like a kind of like a Carnage, kind of like a Venom type of. If I don't know if you've ever seen that movie Venom, but it's like something like that, like a symbiote type of relationship. So that's why a lot, wherever they go and anything they touch and corrupt and whisper the voice of the gods, you see all these tentacles around, and it's like these beings are trying to come out of these pus nodules, and it's all decay, and it's just a little bit. I've combined the Nurgle and Slaanesh kind of gods more to give these kind of this look, if that makes sense. So they're more biased towards Slaanesh and Nurgle. So enough rambling, and let's get on with actually explaining what we're doing here. So as you can see, I have these leftover kind of green stuff tentacles. And these are just from projects, previous projects, also from some bits boxes that I've got recently, and I've just taken these off the bits. So as you can see here, I'm just wrapping this green stuff tentacle around this piece of popsicle stick. We're later going to stick these on just to give that corrupted look, and we're trying to use these in a way that we're hiding where they're coming from. So basically the idea is it's coming from the floor, like, you know, the floor is becoming corrupted. The army has walked on this floor, and so that is the thing that has touched them first, and hence it's more corrupt. So it's coming from the ground or coming from the building of where it's destroyed and stuff. So that's where we're going to make these tentacles come from, as if they're seeping out from that place. So randomly just applying these around where we see fit, making sure that it looks a little bit aesthetically pleasing, but also just Carnage. Quick tip and a quick side note, please use a ventilated area or a respirator mask or something when working with super glue, especially when working with super glue next to other materials that you're not quite aware of the reaction. So I don't know if you are aware of, but XPS foam and styrofoam, stuff like that, can react quite differently towards different type of glue, super glues. You can see here, hot glue isn't that reactive, but the super glue tends to corrode and melt the XPS foam. Now, in some projects that is absolutely like the worst thing possible to happen to you, but thankfully in this project and this channel, KitbashCarnage, we're all about that. You know, sometimes these can things like this can play in your favor. So I use the melting and the acidicness of the super glue in contrast with the XPS foam to my advantage an awful lot. Also, please don't use your finger to dab hot glue. Yeah, don't do what I do. Yeah, please. So as I said previously, these are Tyranid bits. So I don't know what this is. It's like a Tyranid arm. I'm guessing it's a Tyranid arm that was on a body holding something. But we're going to use it as a corrupted arm coming out of the side of the building. So in the previous video, you'll see, I'll explain in further detail when we were building this. In that position there, the first position I put the arm, I was thinking about putting a pillar. But I later came to realize that I didn't have enough time to build a pillar. So we ended up just sticking these tentacles here and these arms, Tyranid arms. And we're going to go with, instead of building a pillar, which actually turned out much better, we're going, like, not the pillar, but what we're doing here, we're going with like a monster kind of, his arms are coming out of the, like remember I said the pus nodules, he's like coming out of the corruptedness, as if he's coming out of the building itself, and they're taking hold of this building, and not only are they leaving behind their corruptedness, but they're consuming the whole building itself with it, you know. So these arms slash tentacle Tyranid bits are just going to be coming out of random bits, and we'll go over it with milliput or some other type of molding material in order to make that aesthetic look that everything's joining up, everything's coming out of somewhere. So here we're just trying to find some more bits, a few more Tyranid arms, a few more random tentacles, a bit of green stuff. I made these are tentacles that I made with green stuff. The Green Stuff World has a little rolling machine thing, so I just make a few of these with random bits left over. And then I also have this metal kind of tree branch arm, which I thought looked quite cool. Like, you have the hand there, you have the arm itself. So I was like, I could use this for the right arm of this bean or whatever is coming out of this crack to where the pillar was going to go. Because since I have that Tyranid arm on the other side, so it looks like something has burst its arms out and it's grabbing onto each side of the wall and it's trying to pull itself out of the building itself, or the corruptedness. So this is where we're just going to place this tree branch looking arm. I do apologize for not knowing the name of a lot of these bits. This is not a channel for, if you don't already know, this is not a Kitbash channel for people who want to come on and be told where bits are from and all that stuff. I do to the best of my, actually no, I don't to the best of my ability. That's a complete lie, and I'm not going to edit that out because I don't go researching and all this, so I have no time to do it. I just have all these bits, and if I know what it is, I'll say what it is. But for the most part, we kind of use our own little names here. So tree branch looking metal arm is what we're using for this. So you can see here what we're going for. The two arms, the left and right arm, just trying to envelop the walls. And then we'll later use some type of molding material, milliput or whatever's handy, just to enclose that, fill up that gap type thing there, and make it look like the arms are coming out of something and not just strapped to a wall. So I'm just sticking the green stuff, pre-made green stuff tentacles onto the top of the wall there. So I'm purposefully using this one that has the most kind of texture, shall I say, or ripples, or you know what I mean, just that it looks much better, and that's going to be displayed more to your eye, so that's going to be positioned on top of the wall here. Looking back, I should have really figured out where to put the second one and then put the more detailed one, but it worked out for the best. You can see we kind of make sure everything joins together. It looks like it's coming from somewhere. Everything's not... Oh, there's a tentacle. I should have a tentacle and a bits count for this. But yeah, we're just bringing all these around, making sure everything's stuck to something. It looks like it's not just lots and lots. That's the worst thing about hot glue, is how stringy it is. But as I said, it adds to the effect. All this glue that's piled up and the stringiness, some of it would be pulled off, but a lot of it adds to the gory effect and the effect that the corruptedness has taken hold of this building. So you can see we're adding little tiny tentacles just coming through the windows and coming down towards the floor, the boxes in the corners. We're even sticking, so we made these are little boxes we've 3D printed with our new 3D printer, and we're just sticking these randomly dotted around because it's so much easier to 3D print these things now than it would be for me to make these by hand out of wooden popsicle sticks or the XPS foam, which I would have previously done. So this is where we're just going to fill in this gap that we were talking about. So instead of using a little tip, you can do this with a lot of different stuff, tin foil or anything, just a filler. But instead of using so much milliput, we're going to put a bit of cork in there, and that will just fill in the gap. So then when we put the milliput on top, we're not wasting as much material. And then using our silicone tip tool, a sculpting tool, we're just pushing this down just so it creates a good bond. And then making sure that it's encompassing the two arms and attaching to the wall, and it just looks kind of that little bit aesthetically pleasing. It doesn't have to be too fancy, but just so it looks like it's not just something strapped to something. It actually looks like it is part of the scenery, part of the mystery kind of sci-fi-ish look. You know, we want it to look somewhat realistic along with the unrealism. So we're just making sure that we attach the milliput to the XPS foam and create a really good bond, because when milliput dries, it tends to harden and it will just fall off. It literally will fall off the piece if you haven't created a good bond to it. So sometimes that means like roughing up the material you're trying to stick it to. In this case, we already have created these little divots and texture pattern on our XPS foam, and then it's pushing it in between the plastic Tyrnid bits and the other bits we have here will create another bond to the two materials. So I'm not too worried about this falling off. And when in doubt, I tend to pour it all over in super glue, but make sure that you've molded any type of texture or detail in first, because once you've done that, because if you choose to put a super glue on top of it before you've put your detail in, you won't be able to do it after, because that just creates like a shield, like hardens it up and creates it so you can't actually do any molding after the fact. So this is where we're just using the other side of our tool and creating these little nodules, these little divots. As you've seen, we kind of ripped open the top there. This is just creating a kind of a corrupted look, as if there's a monster that's trapped. It's like half trapped in this building, and it's trying to pull its way out, like it's actually trying to come out, or it's getting sucked in. It's one with the building. It's taking control of it. It's corrupting it. It's not actually just some type of vine or grass or something. This is a living being that's taken hold of this. It's possessing it. So to add towards this look, I'm adding in some guitar string. So guitar string is a really good way of doing cables or tentacles, anything like this. It's just very malleable. You can manipulate it in the way you need, and you can get, like, 6 guitar strings or something for quite cheap on the internet. And it's a good way of adding that little bit of fine detail. So again, making sure we have a nice bond here, sticking the milliput into all the crevices, and then making sure we get our little bit of detail by using the back of our sculpting brush thingy here. And we're just putting these little divots in, giving that like pus nodule-y kind of corrupted, demon-esque kind of living kind of tissue look. Don't forget, everybody, make sure you leave a comment and hit that notification bell. It really helps the channel grow, and I really appreciate all the support so far. I've never would have thought that we would have got this far. We at the beginning, we actually got our channel hacked. We lost like nearly 70 subscribers. I would never ever have thought that we would have been able to get back to where we are, if not surpass it. I'm so appreciative of all the support. And that's what drives me to just doing these 24-hour rally making hobby sessions and staying up late at night to edit these videos. There's all the support and hearing in the comments that you enjoy the work that I'm doing. So thank you again for everything. So we're just adding them fine bits of detail, rolling up some milliput, trying to use the mix that we have left over, and we're sticking just some rounded bits of milliput on some places. And this is just creating that little bit of extra detail, more of an aesthetically pleasing look, and just adding towards the whole overall look of the project itself. Plus, more corruptedness, more carnage, why not? The rule of cool can never go wrong. And like I said, if you're using super glue, just make sure that you have everything in place, all your fine details done before you douse it in any type of sealing material, because you can't go over and do any fine detail after the fact. And I do apologize, I keep banging the camera again and again, so apologies for that, the shaking. Yep, keep banging the camera, apologies. And just because I keep banging everything for good measure, I go over everything in super glue just to seal it, just so I don't bang some of it and actually ruin all the effect and the hard work we've just done. So here I'm just going to use some more hot glue, and I'm going to create kind of a gore look, kind of, as I didn't want the milliput or a tentacle look here. I wanted an actual gore kind of bloodish type of look, something like that. You'll see in part 3 when we actually paint all this up and put the final details in, and when the paint kind of gets put on, that's when everything tends to come to life. But yeah, I'm happy so far. This is what we've got. I'm pretty happy with it. As I said again, thank you for watching this mad crazy journey that we're on, and let's see what the finished product is when we do it and paint it. Stay tuned for part 3. Don't forget to hit that notification bell to get notified when the next video drops.